evening. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. The Western Washington Amateur Television Society is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that take to the airways with fast scan television. We have a repeater located up on Cougar Mountain. We transmit on 70 centimeters. It's a crossband repeater and spits out images at 1.2 gigahertz. To find out more about the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, please Google WW7ATS. That's Google WW7ATS. That will take you to our homepage. There you'll find the frequencies, exact frequencies we transmit and receive on, and also a little history about our organization. Also on the page you'll find a link that will take you to streaming to YouTube, where our nets are our nets are streaming on YouTube between 8 and 9 o'clock on Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. Also, we'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7STR's repeater 147.08 with a specific tone of 103.5 for Cougar Mountain for this net. Again, that's 103.5 for Cougar Mountain for this particular net. Again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. I'll pause in case anybody has emergency traffic or needs to make a contact on the 08 machine before our net gets fully underway. Hearing none, welcome to the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Signed in by video link already is Bob, K9PQ. Richard, K7ITX. Jim, N7QO. James, WU7N. And myself, Dave, KD7CYM. Is there anybody else who would like to check into the net this evening?
Hey, 7UHK, Jessica.
Apologies, Jessica, KF7UHK. Anyone else? And again, welcome to the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. We'll start off with Jessica, KF7UHK.
KF7UHK, I'm here in Everett, where it looks, like a typical fall day here in Seattle. It's very nice. We went over to Paul's boat today to go to a baby shower for my little nephew Tommy, which is my little sister's son, and his wife. And it was really nice because out of the 6 kids in my family, our immediate family, five of us all showed up, which is it was like a family reunion, and it was really good to see everybody. We're all getting older, for sure, but it was a lot of fun to talk to everybody, what's going on in our lives, and see how everybody's changed in physique and age. And so that was a really nice day. The ferry traffic across Edmonds, Kingston was kind of moderate. We had to wait one ferry each way to be able to board, and the sound was fairly calm, but you could see that sailboats out there were sideways as they were racing around and having a good day. So that was it was really enjoyable. So with that, I'm going to pass it back. This is KF7UHK.
KF7UHK, thanks with that. Well, let's go to Bob, K9PQ in Bothell.
Dave, and good evening, everybody. Oh, Jessica, that sounds really nice. Seeing the sailboats out there, I did not know it was so windy, but I'm far from the water, so it's not windy here. And in fact, Dave was saying earlier that he had rain at his place, and I don't think I've had any rain here today, but it's been overcast and threatening all day. Yeah, it's been kind of a quiet day here. We had our meeting this morning and haven't done a lot since then. But it's good to see everyone on. And I did check in with Richard. I texted him at the start of the net, and he texted me back. And he is listening and watching tonight. I forget exactly what he said. I think he can't get, I know what it was, can't get port forwarding to get out to us from where he is. So that's why he can't join us tonight, but he's with us, listening in and with us in spirit. So nice to hear from you, Richard. And he says he's in the middle of getting all of the testing that they're doing to qualify him. So there you go. That's my news for now. I'll send it back. K9PQ.
K9PQ, let's go to Jim in 7QO in Covington.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Good evening, everyone. Well, sorry I missed most of that conversation there, Bob. I was chatting with Ron for a little bit. He's occupied tonight and won't be able to join us. But he's thinking about us anyway. Let's see what was going on today around here. We had a fair amount of rain coming down today, and then it calmed down for a couple of hours, but now just before the net started, maybe about somewhere between 7 and 7:30, it began raining again. Not really hard, but you'll definitely get wet if you're out in it for more than about 2 minutes or so. I've got 52 degrees out here. We did not have much traffic around the airport today because of the weather. It looked like there were low clouds. I didn't actually check what how much detail about the weather, but nevertheless, not a lot of activity today. Well, the Mariners played today. They played in Houston, and they won. It was a shutout, 5-0 Mariners. So congratulations and good luck to them in the future games. Looks like things are going good. I did not get around to watching the Kentucky Derby today, but I don't know, I guess we'll find out about that on the 11 o'clock news tonight. Let's see what else comes to mind. I don't know, that's about it. I'll back to you, Dave, N7QO.
N7QO, thanks for that. Let's go to James, WW7N in Northeast Bellevue.
This is James, WW7N in Northeast Bellevue. Well, Jessica, sounds like you're having family fun. It's the time of the year for that. I should be going to a wedding, I think in July, and I'm trying to figure out how to get down there. It's somewhere in California, and have some of these people I haven't seen literally in years and years. So those are always fun weddings. And it's always, when they say to you, I haven't seen you in years and years, you say, yeah, I got out last Thursday. Just the look on their face, But anyway, so that's cool. You said that Puget Sound was fairly calm. I'm going to add that to my list, along with mostly peaceful protests and tepid coffee. I did learn some news you can use. I learned if you put a little tiny bit of baking soda on the top of your coffee grounds before you make drip coffee, it's supposed to take the acid out. Although it does take a little longer for the water to get through if you use a paper filter. I don't know if I should risk trying this in a Keurig device. That sounds to me like, it could wipe out, if it were to build up the coffee pressure in there, it could wipe out all of Northeast Bellevue, and I'd have that on my conscience. So I don't know if I should tamper with that or not. any comments suggested. Another chat this morning that was interesting. The topic was how to keep deer from eating everything, that you plant. So these people move out to the middle of nowhere and put in a nice garden, and then suddenly discovered all the animals say "me gusta," delicious. I like it. So I found a picture where someone had built a fortress around their vegetable garden, and it had a big sign on it. This is the awning of the cage of asparagus. I thought that was creative. So anyway, I sent that to 4 people, and it's interesting. One of them said they couldn't open it, didn't see it. It wasn't an attachment. It was just a picture pasted into a regular email. So I don't know if why, since they were all using Outlook, all 4 people using Outlook, some people could see it, and 2 people couldn't, 2 people couldn't. So anyway, any comments appreciated there. That's about it for this round. At 11 minutes past the hour, this is James, WW7N in Northeast Bellevue with the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. I'm going to turn it back to our net control tonight. Dave, take it away.
7N, thanks for that. This is Dave, KD7CYM in Lake City. Here it is raining. Can you believe that? 54 degrees and overcast. And according to my weather report, it's going to rain for the next hour. So anyway, it's going to be a moist evening a little bit. And I guess growing a garden is the animals look at it as a food bank. That would be kind of good. But the only things that I've seen, I remember once driving down a street in a neighborhood walking, and a person had planted a new bunch of grass on a curbside area parking strip, and then the sign said, "Do not trespass, baby worms in the ground." So trying to protect his reseeded grass. So it's humor is always anywhere that you go. And I did watch horse races today in the Kentucky Derby, and I was just amazed at the thousands of people that turn out for the horse races. And the infield was just wall-to-wall people. I can't imagine why you want to go to the infield in a racetrack where you couldn't see anything. If you looked at the pictures, the people were just sort of sitting around in groups everywhere in the infield where they wouldn't have a vision of the track. So I don't know what the excitement is to go to a horse race to be in the inner circle, but I guess different strokes for different folks. So that's about all I've got to add here in Lake City. This is Dave, KD7ZYM. So let's go back up to the one and only Jessica, KF7UHK.
So, the horse racing is similar to when you go on a ship and then you sit in the bar and drink all day. So it might have been that kind of thing. Maybe they have really great drinks or great prices on drinks. I don't really know. It's kind of like when you casino and see people sitting at 2 machines and having and smoking all day. You kind of wonder, does this really look that fun? And a drink in one hand or a cigarette in the other. So I always wonder, is that really that fun? I don't know, because I'm not a drinker and I'm no longer a smoker. So hopefully I'm not offending anybody by jumping on either one of those folks. Let's see. And then I have, for the asparagus comment, I just got to say, one bird doesn't make a pun, but 2 can. There's your pun for the night. And then lastly, our new bids start on Monday. And it was kind of almost emotional with saying goodbye to all the people I've been riding with for the last few days, because I kind of tell them, my bid's about to change and you won't see me for a while, or at least not on this route. So hopefully we'll see you some other parts of the world, because you really make a connection with all these folks, and they all get to know you and know what you like and know what you like to talk about. So it's kind of interesting. I've got a story about that a little later, but this is Jessica, KF7UHK.
KF7UHK, thanks for that. Let's go to Bob, K9PQ.
the still picture is tonight. A few years ago, I was playing around with a macro lens I got for my camera, and that's a close-up of some kind of an agate-like rock that I acquired somewhere along the way, even many years before that. So that's what that is. Let's see, deer. Yeah, I can tell you, Long Island is just overrun with deer because they have plenty of, used to have a lot of farms, not so much anymore. I think they still have some vineyards, things like that, but they are not allowed to hunt, and so the deer just, multiply. So they have a big problem with deer in their garden, in their backyard. Their backyard just opens up to a wooded area behind it, and they got around it by putting in a tall fence. But what they did that was very smart, they noticed that the deer had a normal pathway that they like to go from their backyard through their front yard and crossing to a field across the street. So they created a little open space. They built the fence on the side of the backyard in from the property line, so that there's about a 4-foot, 6-foot space between their fence and their neighbor's fence for the deer to walk through, so that they can keep going on that path and wouldn't be tempted to jump the fence to get through. And he says it works. It works. They've seen deer tracks going through there, and I don't know if they've actually seen deer going through there, but it's working, and their garden is safe. I like the baby worm side. I think that was pretty funny. And yeah, as for the derby going, especially on the infield, I think part of it is those people don't want to see; they want to be seen, and that's why they're standing down there where they can't actually see anything. They just want everybody to see them. And yeah, as for the drinks and cigarettes, go figure. You just can't explain some things. So okay, I guess that's it for me. I'll send it back to Net K9PQ.
PQ, got to get an ID here. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. And up next is Jim, N7QO.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Well, I'm inclined to agree. A lot of the people will go to an event like the Derby just maybe to dress up and meet with their friends and enjoy some beverages. I know it's pretty common for a lot of the ladies to wear some really large hats, and so it's just a social event, probably more than anything, and they may not care who wins the race, just to go out there. Yeah, Dave, garden, food bank. Funny you say that. I had a neighbor gave me a wreath. I don't know why, but it was an artificial one, and it wasn't even Christmas time. But anyway, so I put it up on the wall outside our front door, and there were a couple of times once I saw some sort of bee trying to pollinate this plastic plant, and I saw a hummingbird as well going to this plastic plant and going, hey, something's not right here. It's amazing how realistic the thing looks. But yeah, whenever, also I do have deer that show up on my property every now and then and munch on a couple of my bushes. So we also have some deer paths around here. I do see deer in my yard kind of regularly, although I have not seen them I don't think I've seen them this winter, actually. Maybe last fall. but we also have elk around here, quite a few, in fact. My neighbor across the street from me, last year we walked around around his property for a little while, and there were just mounds of elk droppings out there. And we have seen elk out here before in like large quantities. I mean, a group of 20 of them or so. So I don't know if they use the deer pass. I have not seen them do that, but I've seen them come across the east end of our property. So yeah, critters. Bob, thanks for mentioning what that picture was. I couldn't tell what it was. I do have a pretty good picture on 1.2 gigahertz tonight. There's probably a little bit more snow than I had even this morning. But basically I can tell who everyone is. I couldn't quite make out what that stone was. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
QO, let's go to James, WW7N.
Thank you, Dave. Let me jump on over here, share an image I thought was kind of interesting for the Kentucky Derby. Different things, you see different people wearing stuff, and as I recall, hats are a big thing. So I found this image. This is the kind of most interesting hat image that I found. I noticed on 1.2 gigahertz, the aspect ratio kind of changes a little bit, and so the lady's a little bit squished from side to side. But anyway, I thought that was kind of an interesting picture and an interesting phenomenon to share since the Kentucky Derby had been brought up. And there's other commentary on the Kentucky Derby I saw here too. Let me see if I can find this one. And it's everybody's got an opinion about which horses are going to win or whatever. And so this lady is sharing her opinion. I'm sure it's all about horses, and it says winners, real winners finish in under 2 minutes. So anyway, you see the complete range of fashion and expression at the Kentucky Derby. I've got a horse a friend of mine gave that has I think it's the Kentucky Derby winners written on the back, and it's interesting the number of people that really do know what that shirt is. I mean, they recognize it right away. So there's actually a lot more people that follow horses than you might think. And by that I mean the betting side. Jessica, one thing you always will find on an electric bus is a conductor. That's my counter pun for the bird pun. So let's see, it's 23 after the hour. So with that bit of philosophy and images, I'm going to turn it back to our net control Dave. This is James, WU7N in Bellevue.
WU7N. This is Dave, KD7ZYM. Well, listening to Bob talk about deer, it reminded me of some stories. Did a hunting gig that I had to go take pictures of in southeast Washington near Walla Walla one fall. And we got into this campground where there was a creek that ran through the center of the campground. And there was a group of about 5 deer that came right up to the creek. And they stayed across the creek in the area that they were in and didn't venture into the campground. And our guide said, well, that's the division line for no hunting, and they know where to go. So it was the first time I'd ever run across that the deer were outsmarting the hunters. But then you were talking about deer in the city, and I remember covering a story on Beacon Hill many years ago. There was an elk in this guy's backyard, and he was eating the apples off the apple tree, and the apples had sort of fallen down, and they were in a stage of making applesauce, and I think they had fermented pretty much. and the elk was bombed out of its mind in this guy's backyard, and he was trying to get somebody from animal protection to come and take the elk away, and nobody would come and get it. So that was our story. Where were they? Where were the animal protection people? So I don't know whatever happened to the elk, but I guess it got out and wandered away somewhere else in the Seattle suburbs. Well, this is Dave, KD7ZYM in Lake City, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. Also, it was the opening day of boating season. If you were down near the Mont Lake Cut in Seattle, everybody was out shining parading their boats around on the cut, going out to Lake Washington. So boating season is now open officially. So that's what was happening there. So this is Dave, KD7ZYM in Lake City. So I'm going to pass it back up to the top to Jesse, KF7UHK.
So I started my Friday up in Concrete, up at their parking ride, and my first run, I picked up this man named Jim. Nice guy. He but real quiet, and kind of lives in an RV out there, and he's like, can I get a free ride? I've lost my wallet, and I need to go to the bank and get some things done. Can I get a free ride? It's like, of course you can, Jim. Come on aboard. So, I push a button, and it accounts for him, and everything's cool. And for him to get to the bank, he needs to go down to Cedar Woolley, which means take another bus and a bus back up, and then I would take him eventually back home. So we went through this routine, got him where he needed to go. I told him, when you go looking for your wallet, look in the places you wouldn't normally look, because I know Sylvia has had a tendency to put things where they normally wouldn't go, like in the cupboard or the refrigerator, and you'll find things that just shouldn't be there. So later on, he showed back up, and he had an envelope full of cash. He wanted to put $1 in my machine. I said, no, just hang on to that. We'll take you home, and then next time you found your wallet, then you can square up or something like that. But don't worry about it right now. You need all the help you can get. So I'll let him go. And then later on, my last run, he was at his stop up in this one loop up in Concrete, and he flagged me down, and I opened the door, and he got in the bus, and he opened up his wallet, stuck $1 in, and said, I found my wallet. And I said, I'm so glad, Jim. It was hurting me to know that he was panicking about his wallet, because I know what I do when I lose something important, keys or anything like that. I kind of go a little nuts to tear everything apart to find it. So it was a nice, happy story. Shook his hand, told him I'd see him again, and told him one of these days I'm going to come out with Sylvia to his RV and say hi to his cats. And so it was a nice ending to a Friday, and that happened just yesterday. So it's kind of cool. It was very emotional feeling to me. So, and that was it for me. KF7UHK.
UHK, thanks for that. Let's go to Bob, K9PQ.
Ready, that came around quickly. That's a really nice story, Jessica. I really like that, and I think it's great that what you were able to do for him, and him getting his wallet back and letting you know what a cool story. Let's see. So, Jim, I forgot to mention before. Thanks for the info on the Mariners. Yeah, the Mariners are surprising me a bit. They've had such awful starts to the season for a few years now, and it started out that way again, but they've been winning crazy. They've been winning a lot in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that, and beating some good teams. And so glad to hear that's still continuing. And that's pretty funny about the plastic plant. I mean, I do know with, you have hummingbird feeders, they will have plastic flower-looking things, that are red-colored, and apparently that, they get attracted to that to bring them to the feeder. So I guess they kind of can be fooled a bit by that. Let's see, what else have I got here? Oh, the no hunting line, Dave. That's a great story. I've heard that. I've heard that people tell me about that a number of times, but you're the first one that's ever was an actual eyewitness that could confirm that story. Yeah, I could see that happening. I could certainly see that happening. You know, when they, you know, they're all heading in a pack somewhere, and one gets shot or shot at, they're certainly going to avoid that area. So I can see that happening over time, where they would learn to stay away. Interesting story. Okay, I guess that's all I have for now. I'll send it back, K9PQ.
Let's go to Jim, N7QO.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Well, that inebriated deer, maybe someone should have brewed a pot of coffee to help him sober up or something. I don't know. I might have thought about that, and who knows? He may have been licking on that a little, and I don't know. Just trying to help the animals. Speaking of animals, yeah, we need help too. Thank you, Jessica, for helping out another Jim there. That was a good story. Thank you for telling us that. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know if y'all have been watching the television, but there has been some serious flooding in Texas. Like, wow. Areas where I've been, not too far from Houston, Conroe, Huntsville, Livingston, Shepherd. I used to own a piece of property in Shepherd, Texas. It had a grass runway, and once upon a time I was thinking I'd build a house and a hangar out there, but we wound up moving out, and eventually I sold that property to a Southwest pilot. New Caney. I had a friend who lives in New Caney. I should check on him. So there has been some really serious flooding out there, all kinds of rain coming down very hard, fast and furious. I don't know. I just hope the weather kind of stabilizes a little bit. It's been a rather bizarre, probably about a year now, between fires and floods and all this stuff. It's crazy. Somehow it seems like ever since the pandemic hit, nothing is normal anymore. I don't know what's going on. It's truly bizarre. But I just thought I'd throw that out there. Check out the national weathers and see how things are going for the rest of the country. Pretty rough in some parts. So for traveling, it could be a real pain. Have to check that in advance anymore. Particularly if you're going to take like multiple airplanes going somewhere. I've got a friend planning a trip, and it's going to take 3 different flights. So go somewhere, then swap airplanes, and go somewhere else and swap airplanes again. And it's like that's multiple opportunities for something to go wrong, for a flight to be canceled, or for an airplane not to make it into there. But I don't know, if the airfare is low enough, it certainly entices people to do the multiple legs rather than a single nonstop. So crazy weather. Anyway, those are just some thoughts I had. Back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
Let's go to James, WW7N.
Jim, I saw some pictures from the United Arab Emirates where they had the incredible flooding. And of course there's a lot of speculation because there was cloud seeding going on the next country over, and so people are wondering if it worked really well, because these are very atypical floods for UAE. But the most interesting picture I saw, it's a very wealthy country. I mean, there's people there that just don't work. They never have their whole life because of all the oil wealth. And they had giant, I think they were Zodiac brand life rafts or something similar, but they had driven these luxury cars onto the rafts and then inflated them. So these like Maseratis are floating inside of a raft on top of the flood. Because somebody said, we're not losing this car. It's too much. And so I just thought that was the coolest picture ever. I was looking for it. I couldn't find it in time to put it up. I have to say, since you said that the bees and the hummingbirds were going after the plastic flowers, I've known people to wear flowery shirts or whatever and have bees and hummingbirds come around them and try and get a drink of nectar out of the shirts. That never seems to go well. But bees and hummingbirds do use mass transit, Jessica. They travel by buzz. Yeah. Okay, that was bad, wasn't it? Okay. One more bus joke and I'll stop. Some people don't like being a bus driver because everyone's talking behind their back. Okay. Well, anyway, let's see. What else has been going on in my life? I've been pretty low-key and boring. I did a bunch of work today and took a walk, and the rain was just kind of this ambitious fog sort of mist. It was really kind of pleasant to walk around in it. Went up and down the street, and then just took another walk later, just down to the storage area down at the bottom of the street, just to kind of feel the mist, feel the rain on my skin. It was a very pleasant, ambitious fog that was going on there. So I don't know if it was like that where you guys were at or not. Yeah, other than that, I guess, as I said, there's just not too much exciting going on. News you can use. I had a neurology appointment. It took me, almost 2 months to get it. And then I was called moments before I was walking out the door, canceling it, and now it's over 6 weeks to reschedule the canceled appointment that was canceled 45 minutes before I was supposed to see the doctor. So obviously our healthcare system is feeling some stresses and strains, so be sure and take your vitamins, get exercises, hydrate, and take care of yourselves. On that note, I will turn it back to Dave. This is James, WW7N in Northeast Bellevue.
WU7N, thanks for that. This is Dave, KD7CYM. Well, we're talking about flying creatures. Reminded me about my first fall, chilly morning in Seattle. All of a sudden we were getting reports into the news desk that there were hundreds of birds dying out by Boeing Field on I-5. So I was dispatched to go out there and take pictures. And sure enough, there was just hundreds of dead birds on the freeway and walked off to the side. They were trying to figure out what was going on. We were kind of amused at what was going on. Thought maybe there was some type of a plague or something going on. Even this was way before even bird flu was discovered. And then later on that day, one of the University of Washington biology people said what had happened was it froze a couple of nights before that, and the berries on the bushes along the freeway were fermenting because of the frost. The birds were eating all of the berries and getting tanked, and then dive bombing into cars, just uncontrollable. And this went on for about 3 days till the berry crop seems to have gotten down. But thousands of birds, kind of like the lemmings going off the cliff that we've seen so many stories of. But things like this happen, I guess, in nature. This is Dave, KD7CYM. So I'm going to send it back up to the one and only Jessica.
I have the video of the lemmings and the story of the lemmings, which is pretty funny. I don't know if that was actually true or not, but it made for a great video of these lemmings all running towards the cliff and falling off. And James, I just want you to know, we probably all know this, that your call sign it will lead you right back to your address, which is where I'll send the next pun bomb over your house. Those are really bad, but they made me laugh. So thank you. Let's see what else is going on here. Sylvia had took a bunch of pictures of the eclipse when we were down in Mazatlan on that big Discovery Princess, and for the longest time we didn't open up the camera and find out what she got with on her little digital card. And it turns out, she took about 150 images, and about 75 of them turned out really great. And the thing that we noticed was it didn't have the diamond ring effect like the one in 2017. And then when I started looking around, and nobody else caught the diamond ring effect on this one either. So apparently the diamond ring doesn't always show up, which is usually just like one corner of the eclipsed sun has just a little peaky brightness coming out, which makes it look like a diamond ring. And nobody else got it. We didn't get it, so I don't think it had a diamond ring effect, like I say. So that was really fascinating. And that's about it from here. This is KF7 UHK.
UHK, you might say there was not an engagement that happened because of the loss of the diamond ring. So, but let's move on down to model G9PQ.
Okay, well, I have to say I've kind of run out of things to talk about. So it's all right with you guys. I'd like to make this my 73 round. I don't know if you guys feel like continuing. I will stick around, but I think I'm talked out for the evening. So I'll send it back to you, Dave. K9PQ.
K9PQ, and I got to get an ID here. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Well, let's go to Jim in the 7QO.
N7QO. Thank you, Dave. Well, Jim, walking in the rain today, I don't know. There were times here where it was raining a little bit more heavily than I would have wanted to go for a walk, but it was certainly warmer than usual, I would say, warmer than it's been anyway. A pleasant enough day where I am, anyway, I think, for walking in the rain. And let's see, you were saying something about the medical system. Yeah, it's not only specialists. I had to make an appointment with my primary care physician. It took 4 months before I was able to see my primary care physician. Something has gone wrong with our medical system, and shortage of doctors. I don't know everything's crazy nowadays. So you're not the only one. It's not your only the system to which you belong. It's not that only system. It's pretty much universal, at least here in our part of the country. I would assume it's a problem all over. Maybe it's worse here than most, but I don't know. Dave, that was funny. Bombed birds, dive bombing cars. That's distressing, though, for that many birds to inadvertently kill themselves. That's wow. Glad that sort of thing doesn't happen on a regular basis. That's pretty distressing. They have to have to be around to make baby birds. They can't do that if they're not able. Oh well. Let's see. Yeah, I'm okay with cutting this a little bit short too. We have a small turnout tonight. Jessica, I saw the diamond ring effect on television. I don't remember where they were when they were showing pictures of that, because they had several different television stations were showing as the eclipse was moving. They started out, I haven't seen anyone start out like where your ship was, but I've seen some reporters down in Mexico and in Texas, and they just moved up the country toward the northeast. And somewhere over there, I remember seeing a couple pictures of the diamond ring effect, and then and also you can see the mountains. I don't remember what effect they call that, but they have some pretty impressive pictures on television. It would have been nice to have seen the thing in real life, but they did a good job on TV anyway, or at least I thought they did. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
Let's go to James, WW7N.
I think that biologist from UW said that the actual blood alcohol level of the birds has to be really, really high until they're just really defined as being shit-faced drunk. That's why they call them bird droppings. I do recall hearing about that. But I thought only really professional pilots, could fly while intoxicated. I don't think it's something a bird or any other amateur should do. That's what I was taught in flight school anyway. I'm okay with cutting it a little bit short tonight, but I've got a call for visitors. Western Washington Amateur Television Society, we meet at 8 p.m. on Wednesdays and Saturdays. We use this as for our audio channel, but if you want to see what we're talking about, we have a YouTube channel, and you can just go Google Western Washington Amateur Television Society, and you can find our website, and then there's a streaming link on there. You can see what we're talking about, although there's some delay, and we don't monitor the comments on the YouTube channel real time. So it's the PL tone just for this one and only net that occurs twice a week is 103.5. So you do have to change your PL tone, and remember to change it back if you're a regular user of this repeater. So you can either just check in and say hi and check out again, or you can join the conversation. So does anyone want to join now? Those two crickets, I didn't hear anything. So I guess I will turn it back to Dave, our net control. This is James, WW7N in Northeast Bellevue. Thank you very much for everyone that participated tonight.
Thanks for that. This is Dave, KD7ZYM, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. Well, talking about animals and things that happen, I was relatively new to this market, and I was issued equipment by the TV station to go do a story at Woodland Park Zoo with the morning host, and they had a couple of raccoons, baby raccoons that they were showing off and talking about. Well, I had these brand new lavaliers that had just been issued to me. Put one on the reporter and one on the zoo person, and they were holding the raccoons. And the next thing I knew, the raccoons had attached themselves to the cable coming out of the microphone and completely severed the cable on both of the microphones. So I had to go back to the station and say, can I get this fixed? These two brand new microphones that had their cords taken off. Well, that's my story. The funny things that happen while you're covering television news. And I guess I'll close off the net. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. We'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7ATS repeater 14708 for our voice transmissions for this net. So on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, this is Dave signing off the net at 8:50. Good evening all. Bye.